There's a line I like. Higher the consequences, greater the results. That's when you're chased by a tiger. That's when you run the fastest, right? Why do these Olympic athletes train every day to be better, right? It's just that more they can push, more milestones they can reach in their microcycle. The reason why action and adventure sports people are performing so better so fast, it's the flow state. So when you get on a flow state, you completely let go, have no self doubt, then the body can do amazing things. So one such thing is when you're pushing your body to the limit underwater diving, the chemical compounds that build up triggers a reaction in your spleen that it just squeezes out good stuff to your blood, which can make you superhuman.
Yeah, Bohemian Pursuits podcast.
Welcome to the Bohemian Pursuit podcast, set to unleash the creative in you, with your hosts, Mickey, aka Mixer the Comic, and Epi. All right, welcome to another episode of Bohemian Pursuits, and today we have with us a very interesting guest. His name's Partha Varanashi, who is also known as Coach Partha. He's an aquatics educator and a molecular biologist. Thank you for being on the show, Partha.
Hey, thanks guys. Thanks for having me here.
Nice to have you on, buddy.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. So, how are you doing?
Doing well. Had a long day today, but doing really well actually.
Yep, you said that you had like a session today at the farm. You
Yeah, today we had like two water sessions. We just go and jump into the water, basically just have fun. But it involves some intense stuff. Fun basically. But
Wait,
most of it
fun is part of the training routine.
it has to be if you want to learn something like to the top. You need to stay interested in it. More the interest you have, higher the achievements you're gonna get. So yeah, it has to be fun, right? If it's not fun, you wouldn't be doing Bohemian,
Yeah,
right?
that's not the schooling that I that I got. For us, if you weren't struggling, you were doing something wrong. If you weren't depressed about your life,
You have not to do that, though. But you got to
so
pick the right one.
true.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you're coming to us live from a village near Puttur, right?
Mhm. It's
Right. This is
about
from your
20,
farm.
yeah, 20 kilometers south of south west of Puttur. It's closer to Kasargod actually, but it's in Karnataka. It's in the border of it's a border town of Karnataka.
So I've heard you say Puttur has really good genes. Like, really, like, why? I
What
mean,
swim
can you
jeans?
explain that a little bit? It's just
I
like,
wouldn't say swim genes. Swim genes would be more of Mangalorean guys, but athletes, Puttur has some produced some Olympians and good athletes throughout the history. I'm not saying that it's like a mecca of sports or something, but it's just had like good decent performers.
why are they doing something different? And in in Puttur, are they
I
eating
think the diet.
a different kind of flour?
I believe in you are what you eat. Our body parts are made up from the food that we eat, and these guys have some very good food eating habits, and rich in protein, good carbohydrates, low glycemic index stuff, a lot of varieties. They get fish, so yeah, yeah,
Culturally, they've had a good diet, is it? I mean, a diet that's high in protein, less low in carbs.
they did. Yeah, they did, and all of the families were farmers who were producing a lot of crops here from ages, from generations. So they've worked hard. And the local sports are pretty intense. Like the art form of Yakshagana is so intense. I remember doing Yakshagana. It goes off for, it's an art form which goes for like what, 3 hours, a storyline. And you got to dance for 3 hours. And that's one of the sports. And the other one is Kambala. Kambala is the racing with the buffalo in paddy fields. That
Oh,
guy, some guy broke a 100-meter record in 110 meters or something like that. But he's obviously being pulled by the bulls. But it's not easy to run, go run after and keep up with the bulls. You
have
have
you
to be
tried running
brave.
with the bulls?
I haven't done that though. I've almost gotten under a bull though, a couple of times.
Oh, please
But
do tell how.
I
These
was
like
about
village
I
accidents.
was about
I
4
want
years
to know.
old. Long time ago, my friend. It was 32 years ago.
Oh, what happened? Were you trying to wrestle a bull on the
Ah,
farm?
no, no. It was So it was the Kambala, right? Kambala is the bull race, and I was at the finishing end, and I wanted the best vantage point, which is like dead ahead of the coming in. So they're running, and then the whole crowd is moving in to see the bull race, and I was 4 years old, and I had the height advantage because I could go in between the legs. It's super crowd, like everyone wants to watch it. I snooped through it and like went straight into the incoming path of the bulls so that I have the best view for the race.
You had the best view from underneath, huh?
Dude.
Little did I know that the train is heading straight to me.
Oh shit. And you were fine, it just went over you.
It just didn't. I mean, I rolled over. I remember rolling over and just crying like so hard, and people just gathering around me, and my parents coming and picking me up. But I rolled. I remember rolling, but with that adrenaline, I don't think I hurt. I felt
You
the
felt the
hurt
pain.
that time, but later maybe I don't remember. I survived.
Hmm.
I'm here.
It sounds like a repressed memory that you need to get past. Maybe once you actually do the race. So.
I'm pretty sure he uses swimming to get over all of that stuff.
Actually, I swim a lot less. My
Really?
friends, people who are really close to me and spend a lot of time with me know that I hardly swim. I only swim when there is racing, and then it's like if I fall into the water, I swim off. Water.
Like survival at this point.
No, I can swim well, but not surviving part.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I said, I'm
Why
a bit.
why is that? Why do you find yourself swimming less?
It's like look, there is. I understand swimming quite well, so how to move in the water. So I can swim fast any day, but it's about that's one thing. That's something you have and doesn't go. The other thing is your aerobic endurance. So when you do aerobic endurance, it's a trade-off. Okay, so you guys athletes, you know the two types of muscles, right? One is the fast twitch, one is your slow twitch. Slow twitch lasts longer because it has red blood cells going through it. Aerobic stuff is happening around, and then the white twitch is the fast twitch is white muscle fibers, which is more of stored energy. You have to either pick one when you're training. So I like to do most of the stuff which are intense, and that allows me to do like some few things that I want to do, which like where I have fun, which is more interesting to me. So if I go just do a lot of aerobic stuff, then I may not have that fast twitch muscle gathering. Like I'm trading off. You know what I mean? I mean that's I'm just lazy. That's why I'm not swimming.
So what do the fast twitch and the slow twitch muscles do for you? Like what is the
So fast twitch, it doesn't use your the glycogen coming from your blood, but it has stored glycogen, and it releases ATP. You know, ATP is the fuel, right? So the it releases that fuel in a very short reaction. It's an ineffective reaction, but it releases a whole bunch for you and quickly, so that you can do full power like jumps or sprints, like 10-second sprints, like maximum bursts. Whereas the other one is like they're collecting, they're gathering the glycogen from the blood, from the food what we eat. So it's a slow, like you got to wait, like the shopping cart will keep moving, right? The blood keeps taking these amino acids or glycogens. So that's picked up, and then that's broken down into the energy what we need. So the slow twitch is for longer duration of medium to high performance. So long distance runners, marathon runners, cyclists, long distance swimmers, they all have recruit that muscles more. It's always a trade off.
how much of this is a factor of what you eat?
I think it's more what you do, because both need. So 70% of body composition or 65% is water. Okay, so that's why we need water so much. Okay, the most important fuel is air, which we just don't think of. Okay, so that's a fuel. We breathe in and breathe out. It's food. Okay, and then you have water, and then we have proteins, which are amino acids, and then we have carbohydrates, which is for energy, and then fat for some metabolism and stuff, and then you have your vitamins and stuff, which is required in a very small dose. So in protein, you need to have about 30%, they say, or 20%, at least 25% part of your food that are made up of amino
That
acids.
that already throws veganism out of the picture.
No, dude, I'm gonna blow your mind here. So
What are
plant
you
plant
saying?
protein is the best. Okay, Here's the thing: our body is built up of cells, right? The
Yeah.
cells make up tissues, tissues make up organs, organs make us up. Okay, so we just like, because we have a conscience, we all think that hey, we are one. No, we are like made up of a lot of parts. They all
Agreed.
come together to work every day non-stop for us to function. If something goes wrong, we are in a hospital or something.
Right.
To make these up, and they're dying and repairing and they're replacing. So, for example, the skin cell is replaced as soon as 35 days.
Yeah.
When you make a cut, like 35 days is full thing. If you, as long as you send the good food inside. Okay, these are the amino acids. There are 21 different types. Engineers, right? To make a car, you need different parts. Where do you get these parts from? Right now, let's say Amazon is delivering it to your house. Okay, so that Amazon is the bloodstream. You know what I mean? So you eat the food, you digest in your mouth and then your gut, and then by the time it goes to your intestine, it's broken down into molecular forms of these amino acids. They're like
Right.
bricks. Okay, there are 21 bricks, which is like, for example, the your skin. No, it needs lysine. Like lysine
Hmm.
is one of the major components, and then 70% water, and then the other guys are there also. So if you, when you eat stuff, it has the good source of these amino acids, and then you're building a nice structure, nice machine, which will help you perform whatever you want to do. Like building a racing car. Now I'll ask you a question. Okay, so you spoke about veganism. Okay, now I'll tell you why there are some vegan superstars. Now, when you see these amino acids as a component, okay, 21 different types. Okay, so these 21 different types makes your our muscles, or in real life, like consider you building a Formula One car. Okay, and then these are only made in plants. Animals cannot synthesize amino acids. It's only
Okay.
happening because of that, during photosynthesis and all that. These amino acids are created. It's a part of how the plants give us food, the first source of food. That's eaten by an animal. When it eats it. Say chicken eats it. It's a grain, and it gets digested, and the protein blocks that are separated in the gut, and it goes into the bloodstream, and it goes to every single part of the body where the DNA, which is the architect of our body, and the RNA comes out, like the mRNA vaccine what we're using. It picks up these amino acids like a mason or a carpenter and puts it out to make new forms of cells and tissues and organs. This is happening non-stop in our body. This is the only process which is happening in our body. For that, if you don't send good food inside, these guys are not making your cells with good items. Bad parts are coming in. That's why we're having cancer. That's why we're having not living like it's super. I mean, it's not super strong. It's normal. I think we're living.
Yeah, yeah. I've always maintained that like sugar and carbohydrates are terrible for.
No,
Uh,
carbohydrates are required. Processed carbohydrates are bad. Carbohydrates are very essential. And these guys in here, the amount of carbohydrate loading is insane. Like I can like do a PhD on this study. The carbohydrate intake of rice eaters. Uh, but the right source is important.
okay, so sugar is the easiest thing to break down. Next is carbs, and then after that are fats.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
like if you gave your body all three of them, it would go through the sugar and the carbs and the fats that it didn't need, it would just convert into fats and store it.
absolutely.
If
Yeah,
you took away the sugar,
yeah.
you would it becomes harder for the body to get energy from the carbs,
We have
but
to
but
digest.
that's keto. That's basically your body going into keto state, right?
True. So in ketosis, what happens? There is something called autophagy happening. Okay, which means your body is salvaging for molecules from other fat cells. So it's killing each other. So the strong guys. So say you, the very shitty way of saying it. You're going. You have an army, right? But your army is dwindling. One guy is like lost his leg, and you have to carry him, and then you can't fight. Right? He becomes a dead weight.
Ah,
So
throw him away, bro. Throw him away. He's not dead weight.
take his ammo and then fight on. So it's uh, that's the whole process in a nasty way to tell. But that's what happens in ketosis. Like I mean, keto diet, ketosis happens, autophagy happens. Um, it's called what's it called? I forgot the word. Basically, one cell eating another cell. A
Yeah,
strong,
autophagy is the death of a cell, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's by killing.
But yeah.
These guys take this as food. So,
That in keto, your own body will eat sugar, or it will eat the as a source of energy, as a carbohydrates as a source of energy.
It'll in ketosis in ketogen diet. Your body parts will eat your body parts. Yeah,
It's a
so that's
dog
how
eat dog
it.
world.
Yeah, it eats up the fats. Fat cells are the one which doesn't have any function. So
Yeah,
usually,
because in keto you don't have any. It's low carbs. It's low carbs and high fat.
correct. Yeah.
So where does protein figure into all of that?
So proteins are very different type of molecules. They're all like nitrogen and carbon based molecules. There's certain shapes, right? So proteins belong to a complete different type of molecules, which are very stable molecules. It's structural molecules, right? So they are like this, the stone in your house, which is there for forever, right? If you're like having a laterite stone or the stone material building. So same with the proteins. Whereas the carbohydrates, they involve in reactions. They are the parts molecules which are kind of volatile, and they become a part of reaction. One links to another link, the other guy become another guy. While doing that process, the energy is released, right? So these two atoms interact with each other. It's called fission. Sometimes the energy is released during fission, and then sometimes there's two separating, which is separating is fission, and coming together is fusion. So both releases energy. So in our body, energy is released when an adenosine triphosphate, which is three molecule groups, is kind of volatile. Involves in a reaction, and then it breaks up the one phosphate group. So it becomes adenosine diphosphate from tri to di, I mean, from three to two. So the one third guy who's coming out, when he comes out with an energy out, like energy is expelled. That energy is used for the twitching of all kind of our the muscles in our body. We have different types of muscles, right? Voluntary, involuntary, and then the hard thing is always there, automatic. So for all that, energy is required, and this energy comes from some. There are three types of reactions. One is the very fast reaction, but it's very inefficient, which produces makes one glycogen into two ATPs or something. The other one's aerobic, which is a longer reaction, slower reaction, but much more efficient than the first one. It produces between 15 to 22 ATPs. Um, Again, like please check for facts, but I'm just saying
No, but all of this gets translated to the swimmers, is it?
it does. I mean, it's then once you know the concept, then you're tweaking it, no? And then the third one, ketosis, what you mentioned, is every fat cell is broken down is into 122 ATPs. Where is 2 and where is 102? Like it's like one Hayabusa giving 6 kilometer mileage, the other CT 1000 giving 1000 kilometer mileage, right? It's like that.
So what's better for a swimmer, for an Olympic swimmer? Which one's better?
Depends what your event is. If it's 1500, it's more towards keto side. But like no swimmer has gone keto size because it's a lot of
So like
energy
if it's
required.
a drag race or
Yeah,
if it's
pro stuff in swimming as of now. Because it's high intensity. You're literally doing a muscle up every time. No, you're pushing your arm up and you're pulling the entire body forward. It's like pull ups all the time,
how,
swimming.
how did how did you get into swimming?
My dad used to swim in a pond right at the edge. It was beautiful back in the days. He'd carry me in his shoulders for 2 years, and I would just sit over there and watch him swim. He didn't have like a great technique. He still doesn't, but he's super nice and does that every day. And took me for 2 years. And one day he just took me in the middle and threw me in. I hated swimming when I was young, but
Normal
then
Indian
I knew
parent
I
stuff.
could swim. Yeah, but then watching him, like every time he swims, he would just like stare at me, whether I'm staring back at him. Like he's observing if I'm seeing him swim. So yeah, that's how I
What,
got
what,
into swimming. And then
what do you learn to swim in? Like a pond, a river?
yeah, in a pond, in our farm pond, irrigation pond.
Okay. Oh, my
And
mom
then,
threw me in the pool.
yeah,
I
that's
had
not
to
the
grab
way.
legs. She just threw
That's
me in
not.
swimming pool.
That's not the way. That's not the way.
No, but my dad was there, and then he taught me how to swim, and he pulled me out. I lived. I'm alive. But yeah,
That's
we city boys, we learned from little blue
pools.
pools.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So who is Coach Partha? Take us through your aquatics educator. I want to know what got you into swimming.
Oh man, like the story was really long. I don't think I've publicly spoken about it, but I feel like doing it right now.
First time on Bohemian Pursuits.
Damn.
You heard it here first.
School. I was going to school in here only, the small village, and then I it was Kannada medium. There was absolutely no English at all, like not even ABCD, because it's like old school, but it's a beautiful school. The science was amazing in Kannada only. But then I went to an English school, English medium school, where I didn't understand much English at all. I was too late. I was seventh by the time I was introduced to, and I was probably like I was dyslexic and stuff, or had ADHD and stuff. I don't know what I had.
Nobody's
All 2
diagnosing you for
points.
dyslexia out in the middle of nowhere.
Basically I didn't like sitting in the classroom. Like, that was the issue, I think. I wasn't doing great in studies, but I was doing really well in swimming because there was a pond in that school. It was a residential school. We were swimming as well. And then one day, marks came. I didn't really score well, man. I don't even don't even ask me how much it was. Still, so the guy started teasing me that, hey, you're not gonna become an engineer or a doctor, so you better become a swim coach. Okay. And then I was thinking about it, but like from the childhood, my love was to design aeroplanes, like anything which flies in the air. And then I realized I a coach is actually doing, especially a stroke mechanics coach, because the science behind swimming is exactly the science behind an aeroplane flying.
Are you see?
It's the
Okay,
lift
how?
force. So, like you said, I'm an aquatic educator. No, I'm a presenter for OSWEM, which is a teacher training program, a coaches training program. Um, so in the science part, we talk about this lift force. We show the wing of an aeroplane, and then we compare it to the palm, where when you do the sculling part, the water moves slowly on the bottom and fast on the top, which creates a pressure difference, which pushes the body forward. Um, so this the idea of that, and I was watching Formula One and stuff, and I could like compare that into like make a human a machine, like tell that machine how to go fast. So I wanted to be a coach, and as I was lucky because I went to Australia in 2006 for my masters, and we had to get a part-time job, and I got a job. I did up my awesome course in 2007. Right now, I'm presenter of it. And then I got a job in State Swim in Unley, South Australia, which is a fun job. Stuck to it for 6 years there. I even quit my science job halfway through, and I was doing.
Shit, you traveled to Australia to study, you got a part-time job, and then you made that your full-time scene.
Yeah, but it was a deal, man. Like it was life. I didn't know about what to think of future, but at that moment, the life
Why?
we
Because
had.
did your part-time job start to pay more than your full-time job? Was that it?
No, it was actually like a $10,000 pay cut per year, but it was just so much fun that I couldn't say no. And like I had something in my mind. So like when you travel, I was fortunate to travel a bit, like around like not many, about 10, 15 countries, I think about 16 countries, but meet with the locals there, and everybody you meet, the minute you say you're in India, they're saying, hey, snake charmer, or like make a
Oh, thank you.
I
I
know
know
how
how to charm.
not racism and shit, not that. Like I
No,
can,
no, no. I get what you mean.
but either that or Taj Mahal. Like if Taj Mahal, or the nasty guys say
Thank
like,
you. Come again from
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that
I'm like, fuck that shit. You
that.
can beat that, right?
Nah, nah, it's cool, it's cool.
No, so yeah, and then realized if we can have an Olympic swimmer, like if you see which is the most watched sports in the world, not in India. In India, it's cricket. But if you go to other countries, swimming is one of the most. That's why swimming has the highest number of medals in this thing, and it's celebrated. It's there in the newspaper. Even in a cricket watching world, there is news about swimming, right? So if we can produce an Olympian or a world record holder or something like that, then we can relate ourselves better. Like we can carry ourselves, and it's wonderful to travel. You get to learn so much, and it's again how open the people become with you. You know how much they want to associate with you. Of course, we have yoga always. Thank you, but this that's the idea. That was the idea. So I wanted to learn a lot about coaching there, but I learned very different things there. I actually learned more about high performance after coming to India. But the basics, which is most important for India. India has some really good high performance coaches. Both are in Olympics right now. Nihar Amin is a
In
donor.
your opinion, what does Australia do differently from India as
It's
when it comes to
long term
swimming?
athlete development.
Okay.
So if you want to plan a champion,
Can
it's
you
a
repeat that? What it's a
long-term athlete development.
okay, okay,
Okay,
right.
so you know how we are all like making good doctors, good scientists, good engineers in India. Why? Because our education system is like that. There's LKG, there is UKG, and then the kindergarten, and then your primary, and then your secondary, and then your pre-college, and then you get to professional, and then masters, and then PhD. Right? Like that's
Mhm.
long term of developing. You're putting your
That's
head into something.
essentially the ladder, yeah.
Yeah. So India didn't have that. Australia has that. So it has learn to swim. It has baby stuff, and then it has learn to swim, which spans for about 6 years, and then there is swim to train, which is just heading into competitive world. Then there is train to train, understanding the science behind it and replicating the sets, which is required you to do the hard work part. And then there is swim to race. Okay, so swim to race is when you actually become like a proper racer, amateur racer in your age group. And then finally there is the elite athlete programs where you're a pro athlete, like you get a job in like some, I mean, either a government service or a big company, but all you do is your job as a professional athlete. So we have swimmers who are in the Navy, who are in army, police, railways, income tax, but they're actually they had 365 days leave. Not 365 days; they have to go now and then sometimes, but they have paid holiday for training, and that's their job. So they're pro athletes. So you have to reach there. You can't just turn up and say, like, "Hey, I wanted to be." I mean, somebody could. I'm not saying no, but it's
Yeah,
absolutely
and they compete. They have competitions within these different departments to
yeah,
see.
yeah. It's actually a wonderful system. Like it wouldn't take even that much to change India's shape. We have a great system. We have population on our side. One thing we're lacking is the food, because not because our old food wasn't bad. It was fantastic. It's just the new system has that effect. So it's going to be difficult to get champions out of cities. I think it'll have to come from the villages where the food is still the original back. And then we still need to use science. The nutrition is a very important part where we combine the old knowledge and the new knowledge and the old traditions which are um, proven. So that's I think if we do that, we can produce champions.
How did you manage like being a molecular biologist and working at the swim institute?
Oh my God, my days would start at 3:50 in the morning every day.
Okay?
Yeah, so I used to do this open of the pool. That was between four. So I had to clean the pool by 5 a.m. before it opens.
So you start cleaning out the pool
Oh yeah,
first.
I mean, like, so you need 20. So this is how you don't go straight in and become a like an instructor in everything, right? So when I joined the swim school, I had just 2 hours work every week. I needed 20 hours to survive, to make enough money to live there, pay my rent and food and stuff. So I asked him, the manager, like, I want more work, and he said, "Hey, there is a hygiene officer. You want to take it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to be an officer for sure." And then I took it. The next day I come and the guys are instructing me to clean all the toilets, the wash basins, the cubicles, and everything. We keep it ready and I'm the only guy. One guy who has to clean the entire pool, hose it out. It was good.
As what, like an
Then
Olympic size pool?
no, luckily it was just a 20 by 10. So I did that for a year, and then I still kept one week a day of that thing, because that just helped me get ready for the surf session, because it's just like waking up early is what you can do to get a surf in Australia. Otherwise, there are too many people coming in. The waves go off, the tide picks up and stuff. So
Oh, so
waking
you
up early
surf as
helps.
well. Do you surf anywhere in India?
Yeah, we have surf clubs in Mangalore that we've started. They're a couple, um, and yeah, we surf. Not a pro surfer, but we surf for fun.
Except for fun. Well, like you, so you've trained over 210 swim teachers across India, yeah?
About 300, I think, plus
300? Oh,
300 plus. Yeah,
brilliant. And
I
so,
was
like, what methodologies have you introduced to these coaches?
so
Are they
there
swim
are
instructors or swim coaches? Like, how
swim
would you describe them?
instructors very important. So in the long term athlete development, what we are missing is the learn to swim in India. So everybody wants to do like a summer camp and join the squad program straight away. It shouldn't be like that. The learn to swim is the slowest part. It has to be done over 4 years, not 4 weeks. So we train teachers for this one, like the instructors, for a long-term development, slow step-by-step lesson planning, and delivering of it. So there's an organization called OSWIM, which is Aquatic Educator Council of Australia. It's a arm's length government company, and they also go around the world. And they with a company called Swimming Matters, we got it to India, and I've been the presenter for it along with the Nishal Millet now. She's also a presenter. So we keep training coaches into becoming an instructor.
Yeah, and my first class, my first swimming class was with Nisha Millet.
Oh wow!
Uh, yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, it sounds. It was like a conventional class that you're. I mean, that you were talking about earlier, like you were talking about earlier, where
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was just
Yeah.
a summer camp, and
Yeah.
then the next step is, you know what, you're ready to start competing in events now. Go for it. Do
Yeah.
your 100 meter.
I
Do
think
your
it's
five
changed
hundred.
now. Yeah, I think she's doing differently now. She has different levels going right now. So it's how it should be, I think. So you have to first get familiarized with the water. Water is a new environment, right? Your weight is less, your drag is more over there. You can float. You're more vertical line than a horizontal. And then you need to understand how, like you're lying on the bed when you're so relaxed, a body kind of connects together, and you need to use, using the core and all that. So that is the understanding of the water. Okay, it's called water familiarization. So in this type of teaching, there is one chapter called water familiarization. So that becomes the first priority in your first few lessons. So 90% of your time spent, nobody will ask you to put your head down on the first day. They will just ask you to go around, just walk around, feel the water. When you clear that, the learning loop needs to happen, which is information, um, then perception, then translation, performance, and then the feedback by the coach and or the instructor, and then he moves to the next skill. When that one skill is, you have one skill and then going to the next skill is easy. So jumping 3 steps is very difficult. That's why we get stuck and we never learn the right way. But if you learn, you go by brick, you can climb Mount Everest, my friend. So
So it's like a curriculum in that sense.
it's a curriculum. Yeah, it's a I mean, that course is a curriculum designer. It'll make empower the instructor to make their own lessons. But we have written some lesson plans also, like proper, the different stages. There is organized, swim center called Netakalapa Aquatic Center in Bangalore. We have done a program over there, and we run the same program, similar program here before them over there. We were doing in this village, and yeah, it works. And now a lot of schools are doing adopting it, not one or two.
What has Varanashi Farms done for the swim scene in India?
How does it play a role?
So yeah, obviously you're either your home, so your heart is where your home is, or your home is where your heart is. How do you say it? Something like that. So yeah, I mean, when I came back,
Artist.
I didn't want to come back from Australia, man. I had a life there. I had like a team. I used to go do tree planting parties. We used to do food not bombs. I was hanging out with the leading permaculturists over there. Also, I was a bit of a like adventure guy. I like go outdoors and stuff. Had a We used to do track days in 600cc bikes and stuff. It was a crazy time, but I don't want to come back. But when I decided to come back, I wanted to bring some part of it back with me. and then that's how it started. The year I came back, I took a pool on lease from Puttur. I was fortunate. The officer who was running Puttur, assistant commissioner, he saw it in us that we can do something, and then he got the pool out on lease, and one thing led to another. 4 years later, we had international gold medalist, double gold medalist, with the national records that year. So and then yeah, it went
That's
on.
crazy. So was this somebody from scratch, or was this did this person have some sort of prior?
He was swimming, but he was not doing competitive as well. So when I came and started
This is
this
a government
class,
pool,
it's a
a public.
government pool, but it's on lease. I've got it on lease since the last 8 years. Last
Okay.
2 years has been painful. Um,
Oh, I can imagine it's all closed
yeah,
down, right?
yeah, but still we're running it. So then we started the lesson plan. So he was out there competitive, but he was not qualifying to the state meets. And then he started qualifying for the state meet, and then the nationals straight after. And then the third year he won nationals. The second year he won nationals. Third year he won the internationals as well from 2012 to 15. 2016 he won the international man. Yeah. So then a lot of people started coming. Then I trained people for the world championship as well. 2019 world championship. But he had a lot of experience before. We had to tweak few things, and it worked really well. But yeah, now we have a big team.
I mean, you've trained Olympic swimmer, uh,
No, world championship.
world champion swimmer,
Yeah,
but you've won a lot of medals yourself too, right?
I've
Like
done.
you've had a ton of achievements under your belt. You've done like what 18 gold medals in national masters championship.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's masters though.
yeah.
Although my times were good enough for finals in the senior nationals at some years, but I just started swimming fast after my 30s. Like my best 50 freestyle time was 25.9 before when I was 24 years. That was my previous best. And then at 32, I went 25.6 or something. And then butterfly, which was the much like changed a lot. I was at 28 before and I dropped down to 26. That the year I swam the 26, that would have brought me to the finals of senior nationals, which is a real like proper racing in India. But I mostly did masters, so I'm okay. I'm not a bad swimmer. I'm a fast swimmer.
Yeah,
But not.
why not compete here in India?
I am itching to. I have some shoulder injury that I'm working on. I might get back into racing soon if it actually
So
comes from
earlier,
it.
you teach swimming to a lot of coaches from the farm from Varanashi.
Yeah, I mean, we have a resident coaches staycation, I guess.
Okay, what is
They're
that?
all staying during Corona. We are all staying together, and we are actually motivating each other by having meetings often, and we present some topic to each other. There are a lot of crazy stuff out there. Like the recent one we were talking about is the mammalian dive reflex. If you guys haven't heard of it,
Okay,
please
no,
check it out.
never. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh man, I just spoke about the guy who
The free diver.
free diver, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when you see, this is my tagline. Okay, not tagline. This is a line I like. Okay, I would use it again and again in social media or when I'm talking to people. That is higher the consequences, greater the results. Okay, so when you are pushed to the limit, that's when you're chased by a tiger. That's when you run the fastest, right? Why do these Olympic athletes train every day to be better, right? It's just that more they can push, more milestones they can reach in their microcycles, the faster they can go, improve and go. So like you got to push it on the edge. The reason why action and adventure sports people are performing so better so fast is there is no correlation between pro sport athletes improving and then action and adventure people, they're like going like that. So studies been done on that. So it's the flow state. So when you get on a flow state, in your dive, you completely let go, have no fear or no doubt, no self doubt, then the body can do amazing things. So one such thing is when you're pushing your body to the limit underwater diving deep. the nitrogen build up, the chemical compounds that build up triggers a reaction in your spleen that it's just squeezes out. Spleen is the one which has all your the good stuff, right? Like your red blood muscle cells and the ones which actually carry oxygen and stuff. So it squeezes itself, releasing more good stuff to your blood, which can make you superhuman. And that's what's happening. So, like, yeah, we keep talking about these kind of things, new things. And we connected with some really good guys from Bangalore. This guy's called Invictus Performance Labs. You should check them out too. And yeah, it's fun. So when we do that, we also go and swim together and do workouts together and stuff. So it's fun. Nested
Are
in pool.
you also a free diver? Do you free
No,
dive when you
no, I
can?
wouldn't call myself aspiring. Yeah, there you go, aspiring.
Aspiring free diver.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna perform at 5 meters or 10 meters now.
How
Maybe
long how
8
long do
meters.
you hold your breath for? How long can you go?
I mean, it's different outside the water. Outside the water, I've touched 4 minutes, a couple of times, 3:30, pretty much all the time. It takes some time, about 11 minutes to reach that stage, and then in the water about 2:30, I think, my best, which is
Why
nothing.
why is that different? Why is it different from
I think it's the comfort, right? So I'm trying to let go underwater, but it's still there's some part of me that still has that doubt that hey, I used to be claustrophobic big time. I couldn't get on a MRI machine.
oh,
Not
okay.
anymore. Now I can get under anything. Yes, not
Yeah,
anymore.
I imagine you have to help people overcome a fear a lot. As in, okay, so for example, when people come to your farm, when children come to your farm, do you promise that all of them will become excellent swimmers, or there might be some that don't do it too, right?
Uh, Surprisingly not. Unless the ones who have come hitting the limit. So what we do not focus on developing just the strength. Okay, so we work on this thing called FABSM. So it's agility, mobility, stability, flexibility, and body control. And when you work on these five things with various, again, that goes into sub different types of trainings, and then all these gets you prepared to do an excellent stroke mechanics. Okay, so the stroke mechanics is very important. Like, remember designing the aeroplane that I was
Yeah.
interested in? So our team is really good in this. It's Coach Nirup, Coach Tikshit, Coach Rohit, and then the Tishu. And we had Abhijit, Lokesh, a bunch of guys who come and just mold these kids their technique. Okay, so we have a device where they put it on their head and it's underwater thing. And while they're swimming on a walkie-talkie, we can just tell them, okay, arms going a little bit left. You want a couple of degrees, right? And these kids, um, I'm gonna say something crazy also later on. These kids are
Go
so
ahead, man.
smart. They they're so smart. We have no idea about young generation. Okay, there might be a secret society of 10-year-olds already. I'm saying, anyways, they're so good that we can tell them in degrees and they correct it, and they interact with you so well in the water. So we just tell them. So when you do that work on that stroke mechanics, um, you will get faster because your efficiency is better. You're cutting through to the water and you're using less energy. And so that's the easiest way to make swimmer fast on the long term. So we're not going to get straight away results. It is about 5 to 6 years, and then when the result comes, it's pretty much out
So
there.
you're starting off these kids younger,
Younger.
building their
Yeah.
endurance towards
Yeah. So we
swimming.
have test sets to knock these boxes. Okay. So I can promise you that everybody who comes and does the camp will tick those boxes when they're going. Okay. So
Okay.
that's our aim. It's
What
not
are the top
something extreme
three?
right
What are
now.
the top three boxes that you look at being ticked off?
So it's five. I mentioned that
Okay.
five different things just
Okay.
now. The agility should increase. So there are certain test sets that we do for agility. Okay, one simple thing would be a scale will be dropped, like you will be holding your hand like that. A scale will be dropped, and someone else is going to drop the scale. and as soon as it drops, you got to clinch and hold right underneath it. So your reaction time will measure whether it's 2 or 5 or 6 which you've let go of. So
That's
like
crazy.
that's just
That's
That
one
is
thing.
crazy.
interesting.
So like that getting better, I know that his swimming will get faster when he's or she's gets that maturity in the body. But she has all the tools that she needs to do the perfect technique right now, because if we develop speed on the technique that the swimmers have in the younger age, that technique is going to change as the body shape changes. They're growing, right? So as they grow, when the weight comes on, when the size enlarges, the technique needs to be done over there is entirely different. It's not the same as what they're swimming right now as a young athletes. So if you develop the tools which allows them to control their arms in the way we instruct, then you are the coach is a stroke mechanics coach from outside is an architect of the plane.
you
Okay.
you you expose you understand, you expose these kids as the tools that you were talking about, you expose these kids to different art forms or different other endeavors to sort of help them understand their
Educated,
body,
yeah,
like
physical literacy.
physical
Yeah,
literacy.
I
Okay.
call it education. It's physical literacy. It's more it's the motor cortex in our brain, right? It sparks. It needs to Um, okay, so our body is like a skeletal structure, and muscles go through it. It's literally like a puppet. So muscles are the strings that gets pulled, and the puppet moves the hand. So same way, our skeletal structure is like that, and the muscles contract, holds or relaxes to give that movement, right? And this movement is controlled with your brain. It's a motor cortex. It gives you that certain command for me to take this thing and put it in my mouth and drink, like a water
Right.
bottle, right? So it's the actions happening in your brain, but when it goes to your muscle memory, when you've learned all the skills that you use in your everyday, your brain stops functioning in that part because it's not required. It's in muscle memory. Okay, it's repetitive. That's why you need to do new things pretty much every year or every day, so that you're keeping that brain part active. You're firing those neurons. More firing of neurons happens, bigger the brain becomes, because it's a muscle, just like your biceps. If you keep working on it, it gets bigger. So physical literacy is very important, which we are missing out big time. But yeah, we are all about physical literacy, and at the same time, in the camp they also go through sustainable living, community living, and like trying to do innovations and stuff. They have a lot of their quizzes going
Oh,
on.
so cooperative skills you develop. It's like a wholesome development of a child in some sense.
Yeah, yeah. So our mission is like building champions and creating sustainable communities through them. Like there you go.
Whoa, shit. That's crazy. That's a big aim. And you're doing it out in the middle of nowhere where very few people know about it.
Oh no, it's the middle of everywhere. it, it is. No, I think it's situated well.
Do you see this? Do you see this sort of culture moving towards moving into cities?
It'll take time because the younger generation, when I hung out with the 11-year-olds, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, and the way they're talking, I said, I'll have a surprise for you. I'm not even sure if I should mention it here. But they are so smart that you have no idea how smart they are. You have no idea, especially in the world which is heading more digital. Okay, you see. All right, so I'm a big time talk about climate change and stuff,
Oh,
right? And
okay.
because I have this brain which just keeps thinking, okay, what happens? This leads to another thing, and you construct, right? So when you construct, I kind of see now, okay, the planet's gonna become, um, there's more and more cyclones happening or whatever. Have you seen the the series Loki?
Oh
No,
yeah,
not yet.
Yeah, in
yeah. The
that,
different timelines.
yeah, then the timeline they show the 2050 timeline, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and they are it's cyclone happening, everything. So by then it's gonna be like 50 cyclones or something every year. So you have to live through that, and
Right.
mostly you'll be inside, and we have the neural link developed. You have which is you can talk back to the computer, and like I'm just thinking
But
about a future.
how does all of that tie into Partha
And
as a
of
person.
me, I've grew up with the recurring dream of building. I don't know whether it was a spaceship or some place where all like the Noah's Ark kind of thing, but it was a spaceship.
Are you manufacturing super soldiers in that farm of yours? Is that what
Not
you're
yet. Not
doing?
yet.
I'm pretty sure you have a secret bunker.
No, the farm itself is it's not secret.
This is.
It's quite open.
I'm sure at some point Hitler has said those words. We need super.
So
we need to create super children who are.
no, just to survive the water world, man.
Survive the elements.
Survive the elements,
Yeah,
and then
yeah. This is. I mean, I think what you're doing is amazing. As somebody, I mean, I grew up in boarding school too, but till about sixth grade, I was in school in the city. So
okay,
it was, and from seventh to tenth, I'm in boarding school, and it was two completely different experiences. One was in the city, and one was out in the middle of nowhere, right?
there you go.
And the like in some sense how I realized how in boarding school how I realized how unprepared I was for like life outside a city. And I mean I think those are skills I learned skills there that are absolutely essential to growing up in a wholesome way. And I think what your camp is trying to do is sort of capture that. I mean, and study the science behind it and manufacture it so that anybody can have that experience. And
True.
uh, that's great. I think it's absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic.
I think the four pillars of the camp is one is aquatic education, of course, safety and all that, and then there is creative learning, and then we do physical literacy stuff, and then community living. So yeah, I think it kind of what they actually need for the future, which is coming.
So you're not just doing you're not just a swim coach, right? You're definitely not just a swim
Like,
instructor and aquatics
the
educator.
molecular
You,
biology is the thing, dude.
yeah,
Like,
but apart from that, you're a farmer as well, right?
yeah, sustainable farmer. Yeah.
Sustainable farming. Okay.
Sustainable farming. There's a huge difference. Farming contributes for agriculture contributes for the 20% of climate change, global emissions.
But a lot of that is poultry too, right? Or is that just
Yeah.
Animal
agriculture?
husbandry it takes a huge part, but also the fertilizer. No, when you manufacture fertilizers, the amount of footprint it comes with, and then how it destroys the soil. See, when you calculate footprint, it's just not direct. It's not just the emissions, right? It's
Right,
about
right, right.
the things which leads to drop of
Yeah, yeah, we studied about this in school. In schools, like farmers would use pesticides, DDT, and stuff, and
still use heavily. Yeah,
it would go into the fishes, and the fish population's dead, and then the whole ecosystem is turned
Affected.
on its head.
yeah. It's already happened. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I read the other day that 70% of aquatic life, like in the oceans, is
Almost
dead.
gone.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty scary.
But then, but like, if you think about it, we haven't even explored so much of the ocean. Can we really tell how many, like, what
The
the population might be?
the
No,
aquatic life is on top of the ocean. They've explored the top of the
Hey, bro,
ocean,
there's so much
below
below. There's
the
so much. Yeah, there's so much
ocean.
life
that is so true.
happening below as well.
There might be aliens down there. Who knows?
For sure.
Atlantis, dude. Mickey is a big Atlantis fan.
It's there, out bro. It is there.
So, how different is normal farming from sustainable farming? Like,
Okay. So this main thing is we got to see what the plants need, right? So the plants to survive, they need sunlight, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. That's the main nutrient requirements. And then 5% is the nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. So what's happening is for thousands of or millions of years, the cycle was happening. Leaf would fall off, fruit would fall off. It gets eaten by animals. They die, decay, and then the whole cycle would happen. For this cycle to happen, there are microbiome, like microorganisms in the soil, just like our gut. There is gut bacteria. If you mess up your gut bacteria, you have loose
yeah,
motions, right? So same way, the soil
correct.
has this microbiome, which assists that movement of the whole life. But when we put chemical fertilizers, for example, nitrogen. Okay, so nitrogen is at 2%, the soil saturation limit is 2%, but the fertilizer we use is 21%, 27%, that high. So that's not, so it's not solubilized in soluble in the soil, so it gets leached out. When it leaches out, it kills all the microorganisms, macroorganisms. This life is gone. So you're
So it's killing
basically
basically
killing the
the land
soil.
as
The
well.
soil is dead. So this is leading into
But it serves the
monoculture.
purpose in the short run, right?
Yeah, there is definitely profit in the short term for sure, but I mean, short term is like very short term, and we live
Sustainable farming is sustainable. That's why it's
sustainable. So what we do is we use the microorganisms. We kind of take them. There are good ones, bad ones, ugly ones. Okay, so what we do is we kind of take the good ones out. We kind of repopulate them and reintroduce them. So we still being manipulative. I'm not saying we're like all saints, but we're using the nature and kind of using the nature to go along. You basically, enemy of your enemy is your friend. So if there is a pest coming in, we invite their, um, you know, the ones which don't
The
like,
predator.
like the predators, right? So
that's crazy. You're
that
saying you bring a frog in to get rid of like
totally. In micro level. So there is a
totally.
pest called Phytophthora, which causes the root rot disease in the plantation over here, which is responsible for 70% of the cross crop in a single year, sometimes even 80%. So what we do is we have identified an organism, not we have, like the world have, humans have, a Trichoderma herzianum. It's another fungus which eats on this pest. It feeds on Phytophthora. It doesn't let the phytophthora come off, but it helps the plant. It's a symbiote with the plant, producing a hormone, indolicic acid. So then you're inviting these good guys, and we're re-inoculating them into the our farm. So we run a research center called Varanashi Research Development and Research Center, which is a DSIRO recognized microbiology lab. My parents run it. So we produce, or we basically increase the colonies of these good microbes over there and then give it to the farmers. So if instead of using pesticides, if they inoculate their farm with organic manure and on top of that these microbes, they have more sustainable farming happening. So we do not use any chemicals in our farm, no pesticides, nothing.
That's crazy. It's crazy that you mentioned fungi. I just watched this series called Fantastic Fungi,
They're crazy.
and oh my god, Paul Stamets, such a legend. It's such a good series. It just talks about how essential how essential fungus can be to I mean to like
Right.
to a human,
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean exactly what you said. The enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Friend.
So that's what essentially that's what penicillin is too, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you use all those technology, microbiology in farming, organic farming, you get good results too, and it's more sustainable.
Do you
So
see anything different in the swimmers because of the food they eat?
yeah, I mean, so they go vegetarian. So most of the swimmers who come here are typically coming from a heavy meat eating background, and suddenly they go vegetarian. They lose a lot of weight. Um, People kind of get alarmed by it, but their power to weight ratio increases, their endurance increases, their MLS is maximum lactate steady state, which is like where you can hold your max power for a longer time, increases, and the recovery rate increases. They don't get injuries, and then yeah, that these are the main things that we see in the farm. But
That's
the thing is,
brilliant.
when they're not consuming meat, they're not getting all this amino acids in a pack. Meat is like a supermarket of proteins.
Yeah.
Like they eat because their muscle structure and our muscle structure are similar. They use the same components of amino acids profile. So,
Okay. That's
so yeah.
brilliant. So what's the what does it look like now for Varnashi farms? What's like what is in the future apart from
I
sustainable farming and and swimming?
I mean, the dream was to have an academy where we keep training kids. That's what our mission kind of stays: building champions to create sustainable communities. So, talk about one, high performance in human thing. So, swimming will continue. The second thing is life saving. That's something I haven't spoken about. Um, so life-saving sports is also heading into the Olympics, and also it's required. It's the most humanitarian sport. So there is world championships on life saving. So we have sent our athletes to that, and we also want
Could
to
you?
train the kids
I'm
in.
not very. I'm not very sure about life saving. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay, so most of the drowning happens because people do not know how to swim, and it
True.
happens in the aquatic bodies, which is sea, your rivers, your thing. Basically, it's related to swimming. So there is an international life saving association which is formed in conjunction with the WHO, and each countries have a federation which teaches people in life saving. Okay, I mean it's basically. Have you seen the thing Baywatch?
Okay. So are
It's
you
basically
training?
Baywatch without glamour. Okay.
Ah, okay. So no slow mo running in
Yeah,
bikinis.
and
Ah,
Bring
I
some
mean,
glamour into that.
all
Bring
the
some glamour into that shit, dude.
I'll drown every day.
we will totally bring that. I think it'll have to come. I don't know. But so basically, teaching the kids how to swim in the sea, how to identify a rip or somebody who's going in a flood in a river, how to rescue them. So we simulate games around them. So there's a championship where people have to simulate as if they're drowning, and we go and get them. And that time is recorded for your medals. So that sport is also heading into the Olympics. So we train them. We have a national federation for that, and we train. So that's also another thing. So we teach them in life skills, life safety, aquatic education, education through nature connect, and more applied method, and then community living. Yeah. So this is. So we also have the volunteering program. I don't know if you guys know about it. In
Okay.
the
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
farm,
I heard about it.
you come and stay in the farm for 21 days. You have to work for 6 hours. Like it's heavy duty work. And then there is like some presentations at the end of it, or in the beginning, in between, to do sustainable farming. So yeah, we're keen to promote what we know, the knowledge, and
How different is sustainable farming from taking care of a garden?
you can take care of your garden sustainably too. It's at all levels. Like it's not doesn't have to be like 10 acres or 5 acres or 1 acre or like your backyard.
What does that be like? Take your wet waste and recycle it,
Yes, of
compost
course.
it, and
Yeah, you need to make sure that the organisms which are required for breaking down those things are existing. They are already existing in the, like in our farm and all. It's a lot. It might be a little less in Bangalore, so you might have to bring it and introduce there. The second thing is the whatever consume which is coming out of your house shouldn't have chemicals which these guys don't like. So make sure that there's no processed items. Usually processed items have microbial inhibitor. That's why it's processed, right?
yeah, that'd be useful to have like a guide on how to do organic farming. This should
You
probably be right on how to do organic
Do you
farming.
have like
can
a? Do you have like a channel that people could follow, just to learn about organic farming? I mean, sustainable farming.
Yeah, I could do that, or I could just go jump off cliffs and have fun.
Are you big on cliff diving?
I will think about it one day soon. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you big on cliff diving?
I love cliff diving. There is an Instagram page, Indian Cliff Diver. Please follow.
Yeah, yeah.
It has 190 followers.
I've seen that page. I think one of our friends that we know of, follows them, and I guess they were really intense
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see cliff diving in India.
yeah. I
I mean,
think
I've seen videos of people jumping into the Ganges and all, but
yeah. So I think we started trending hashtag Indian Cliff Diving and made that page. It's fun.
Crazy. What kind of message would you have to like parents that send their children to conventional schools, just that are not
Um,
yet?
Look, about if you ask me this question before the camp, I would say that hey, you guys really need to open up on this education bit. You have to give them the freedom to think by themselves and all that. But I'm not gonna bullshit. After spending time with the kids in this camp, I will tell that they got their stuff sorted out. Just don't be too surprised when you really find out how capable they are and what level they are in. So that's all I have.
That sounds like a tease. What do you mean? Like,
Oh man, they are kids are incredible. Like I really think that we
you're telling me now what I'm hearing is, take my word, these kids are amazing.
these kids
But
are the future.
Yeah, these kids are the
Yeah.
same, and I believe you. But somebody listening, I'm wondering if you can capsulate that
No,
differently.
I really want to collaborate. See, what happens when parents don't like the way the kid is thinking. Okay, so I used like to hang out with younger people that it was like time traveling. Okay, so you're seeing the world in their perspective when they're talking, having conversations, right? That's like they've lived a different timeline than we did. So it's literally the experiences have been different. The experiences mold us of what we are. Like whatever I say today is because of the experience that I had, and same with you guys. So if the older generation can actually relate these guys and understand there is civilization flourishing, right? That's how humans have done all this, because we come together and collaborate. But if there is the gap is there, you don't understand your child, um, then there is no collaboration happening. There is no progress happening. So I would tell the parents that they have super open mind and see how they are seeing the world. So listen a lot, okay, and then communicate.
I think some of the open mind parents would say, so I think my child has the best opportunity if he or she goes to this school and I mean, finishes 10th, finishes 12th, and like has finishes conventional degrees and works himself up to an engineer, whatever. I think he'd have his best shot at a happy life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you like say to that?
I mean, we all had that. I mean, we came through that, and I really think they should find out. The kids should find out. Give them push them through a curriculum where it's open a lot. Like there's that J. Krishnamurti schools in Bangalore. That CFL is there. I don't know. There might be more schools, creative schools. I don't know. I'm not talking about any school here, but there are the ones which gives them more opportunity to see the world and seek what they like, not streamline into them into a factory.
How important is that? Why is that important?
Because we all are we all have capacities in different things. Okay, so when you first thing is you need to identify what your kid really likes doing. Okay, so I'm talking about high performance, right? If you want to become a doctor, you want to be the best doctor ever, like you want to be a high performance dentist or a doctor. For that you need to have that much curiosity in that subject. Like nothing will fathom your quench for this knowledge to get better at it, right? So you need to find out what the kid, and it's not the same for every person. We're all different. And if the parents are able to find out what the kids are they like, and if they have, not all parents have this, if they have the opportunity to support the kid in that direction, I think they're winners. Yeah, the family is a winner for sure. So that's important for parents, I think, if it makes sense.
Yeah, no. Last question from me. Like, what's a winner child?
A winner child is basically the one who's doing what they love doing at high performance. Like they've reached I mean, they're not getting satisfied. They're going more for that fun stuff, but they have to have fun. So it's their focus doesn't get drifted into other things in the world. They just like focused on one thing and they keep exploring that path. As long as they're loving it. Like if they're not loving it, they can definitely jump into another thing and explore. But they should have that freedom to do that.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for spending this time explaining all of this to us. It was so interesting, really interesting to hear your thoughts
It's fun.
on swimming, on sustainable farming. I just want to see how can people hit you up. Where can they hit you up? How can we come volunteer at the farm, or maybe come take a couple of swimming classes so we don't drown?
Yeah,
Or some parents that want to sign their kids up for
yeah, for sure.
swimming class.
We are open. There are COVID protocols and stuff, like you have RT-PCR negative testing, and you have to come from setting. We have a quarantine time and all that. But it's you got to visit our website. That's varanashi.com. It's not Varanasi with the SHI in the end. Varanashi.com, and then check the volunteer space there. If people want to volunteer, everything is given there. It's pretty self clear. There's a lot of work involved. We have to own. It's not coming and chilling in Varanashi farm thing. The previous volunteer would know about it. The
Yeah.
other option is the camps. We do fitness camps. It's basically stay like farm stays basically, but we have our routines going on every day, and people join that. So that kind of camps, and then we have
Is that a website? The website and the Instagram handle is
yeah,
fine.
we have the Varanashi farms, and I think my coach Partha has a bunch of stuff. It's more like a personal blog. I mean, it's turned out into something else maybe now, but I just want to record all my the flips and stuff. That's all in that.
That's great, man. That's
Um,
great.
Awesome.
but
So
yeah,
people,
I do respond in that. So so
people.
send an email to us
Uh-huh.
at if you're volunteering, send an email to us on varanashi.workaway@gmail.com. So that's varanashi.workaway@gmail.com. You can reach us there.
Awesome. So people can hit up Coach Partha on his Instagram page. That's Coach Partha. And also check out Varnashi Farms. They got some pretty interesting stuff. Leave us a comment down below and let us know what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in, and
Thank you, guys. Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure, Partha. Thanks for taking the time.
thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, Bohemian Pursuits Podcast.
So tune in, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can catch us there.
See y'all. Cheers.